First Lady Teresa Parson is out of her isolation period tonight, while Governor Parson is still in it through October 3rd. The first couple tested positive for COVID-19 last Wednesday. KOMU 8's Annabel Thorpe walks us through the timeline to answer why their isolation dates are different and other questions like that contact tracing.
Quarantine, isolation, and close contacts. The timeline for all of these depend on dates, when you test positive, and when you start showing symptoms. And for the first couple, it's no different.
He would not know that he has it if we hadn't just done the test because of the First Lady.
The first couple tested positive on September 23rd. Governor Parson's isolation period ends on October 3rd. But Teresa Parson ended her isolation period on September 28th. That's 5 days after she tested positive. The Director for Health and Senior Services says that's okay.
Isolation is 10 days from when you were symptomatic. The governor's is different because he's asymptomatic, so his is 10 days from being tested.
So let's backtrack. If the First Lady's isolation ended here, to meet the 10-day isolation period, that means she had to start feeling symptoms on September 18th.
I don't think she had any of those other symptoms that would distinguish it from allergies.
She had those allergy-like symptoms for 5 days and attended events like this golf tournament. These pictures were the day before she tested positive.
I did get up with a few cold-like symptoms and decided that maybe because we are out among the public so much, I should be tested.
So since the First Lady had mild symptoms and the governor showed no symptoms, the couple was around people. We asked about contact tracing connected to the Parsons and found out that information will not be released.
That we cannot release the number of positives if the denominator is small, because one could then infer from that possibly who is positive. And we're bound by HIPAA to protect that.
HIPAA is patient privacy. The denominator he mentioned just means the total number tested. Dr. Williams told me the epidemiologist bases releasing information on this fraction. Dr. Williams says the epidemiologist will not release numbers from the Parsons. He said they've tested fewer than 100 people.
We're not allowed to release data, even in an aggregate form, unless the denominator and the numerator are such that a reasonable person couldn't decide who the individuals were who tested positive.
So while we know these dates, we might never know specifics about the contact tracing efforts. Annabel Thorpe, KOMU 8 News.
The First Lady's isolation ended Monday, but will continue to stay at their family home in Bolivar until the end of this week. The governor's isolation runs through Saturday. Fall Fest, which was set to happen this Saturday, is now canceled.